So welcome to the Project Hexapod update for March 27th to April 3rd. The big news this week is that we got a donation of hoses and fittings from Tompkins Industries, and we'll talk about that in a bit. The big thing that we accomplished this week is that we started getting all of our hoses in and started getting all of our main trees. So you'll remember this is the tree we talked about a couple sessions ago that takes input from the pumps, combines it, and sends it to relief and return if it's overpressure. You can see over here our dump valve tree is in place, so these two valves will dump the output of the two pumps to return if we want to short circuit them. So again, we can operate with none of the pumps on, with just the small pump, just the large pump, or with both pumps on. So that is a poor man's variable displacement pump. We can change the amount of displacement per revolution our pumps generate, which means that we can be a little bit more efficient. It's not very efficient, but it's more efficient than just burning energy constantly when we're not moving. So you can generally see the structure of hoses across this entire thing. What we've done is we've gotten the dump path to the radiator done. We've gotten the relief valve done up front. We have the trees over here, so this is after the radiator. We've come down, gone to our filters, and we're back in the tank. From the tank, fluid goes into this dash 32 hose, goes all the way down, and feeds our pumps. The one thing we're not really happy with, and we haven't quite figured out, is that there's a T intersection here that feeds both the supply of the large pump and the supply of the small pump. We haven't figured out how to get from here to here yet. So, still a work in progress. But what we're going to show you in this week's update is the construction techniques we used to work on this system, show you some assembly, and talk about how we install fittings. So, big news this week. We were just sponsored by Tompkins Industries. Tompkins is a global supplier of hydraulic fittings and specialty hydraulic parts. So they saw what we were doing. They saw that we were in the middle of building out this hydraulic power unit and said, "Do you guys need our product?" And we said, "Yes, absolutely, right now." We were actually about 15 seconds away from ordering all of these fittings and hoses from a variety of other manufacturers. So they arrived in the nick of time. We've been waiting for them to be delivered, and so now we're just going to try and install as many of these things into our system as possible and see if we need to change any part numbers or change our system's design because stuff doesn't fit, right? Ready? Okay. So when you see us installing these hydraulic fittings, you'll notice that we're applying a thin film of oil to them. It's a process known as wetting. So there are two sides to this adapter. On this side, it's an SAE or ORB fitting. It has an O-ring that forms the seal and straight threads. On this side, there are still straight threads, and there's a 37-degree flare that actually provides the sealing surface. In both cases, as we go to install these, what we do is we actually coat the O-ring and coat the threads in a light coating of hydraulic oil. The reason why is because we're trying to create a uniform torque to tighten these things. If we're tightening them dry and they have little nicks in them or little burrs or contaminants, what would happen is that they wouldn't create a uniform torque as you spin them up. So you're trying to make the feel of all of these fittings match. So you actually lubricate the fittings, you lubricate the sealing surfaces, you make sure there's a thin film that's providing that seal as you clamp down in all cases, and then you've created a relatively robust hydraulic system. So watch for us doing this over the course of this week's update. Make sure to get the sealing surface, George.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because a lot of the sealing surface is facing downwards, but I'm pretty sure I got all of this.
Yeah, we'll just make a policy of not trusting any of the hoses to tighten. Maybe we'll just make our own wrench it.
I think that's it.
Double readings or?
Yep.
Okay. So
Because one's an engine radiator.
Okay. And the other is a.
Oh, we should thread this before.
You want to continue wrenching?
Keep going.
I mean, that's good enough. I don't even have to hold it. If you move your leg out, it might get easier. I think it's wheat, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I don't know if it's warm enough for wheat.